Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another stream and another chapter. I believe it's chapter 6. Chapter 6, working on this guy right there. That is our M2A3 Bradley with Busk 3. That's just a fancy way of saying it's got some special armor on it. I'm going to run the intro. We'll get right into it, okay? Okay, so we're back and we're going to continue on this. We're going to do a little bit today. I haven't got a lot of time to do work on this today, but we're going to get a little bit done. And yeah, so last time we were working on the transmission assembly and the engine intake assembly. We got those completed last time. Off camera, I gave them a little touch of paint. Okay, let me change the camera here and we'll show you. Okay, so I painted them in a nice gunmetal color. To me is X10 gunmetal. Gave them a little touch paint on there, so now we've got some paint on that. Okay, that's the air intake. That's that piece. We have the engine here. Okay, so the engine's looking nice and metallic now, and our transmission also finished and looking all nice and metallic-y, gunmetal-y. Okay, I did figure out last time, I was like, why doesn't, when you look at them in the picture here and how they go into the hull, it looks like it's sideways, the transmission sideways, but actually upon closer inspection we actually have the tooth for the crankshaft goes into that like that, and they do line up like that. And you're going to have your two bottom holes are going to line up and go into this little part on the hull here and in our big square block. That's what's going to happen here. So we take our transmission, have our spline facing towards the back so that this little round section can go into that little hole right there, that little circular area. Just going to line up in there like that. Okay, this hole in the bottom of it is going to line up onto this little nub that's sitting right there where my extra long fingernail is. Okay, so we'll line that up like that, and she's going to go in like that. Okay, and that's how the transmission is going to sit. Then the engine, all you got to really do, now there was a little knob right in the center of this square to go into that, a little pin. I took my file and I just got rid of it because this sits perfectly into that, and without that little knob it sits a little bit easier to sit it on the floor, and we get it lined up, and she's going to sit like this. Not quite like that because that's crooked. It's going to sit like this. Okay? And that's how our engine and transmission are going to sit. Okay? But I'm not going to glue them in yet because I got to paint the interior of this thing. This whole thing needs to be painted. I don't want to leave this in like this weird green and sand colored mismatch of colors. This all should be all the same. Okay? So we're not going to be gluing in the transmission and the engine yet. What we're going to do today is we're going to assemble this power system and driver's bulkhead assembly. We want to get this assembled, and I'm going to see how it's going to sit in here and whether I'm going to glue it before paint or not. Okay, that's what we're going to figure out. So for now, we can put this aside and we'll start the assembly on this bulkhead assembly here and see how she's going to look. So get my main tools out to the side here. Working with off of the P and the M trees. Okay, I'm going to do this. So I've got them here, P and M. PM because it's the afternoon. That's right, it is the afternoon. That is what we're dealing with today. So let's see. M5, obviously, this great big piece here. And it looks like this might have to actually go in after the transmission. We'll see. I need to figure out why we've got grayed out number 14s here and here. What is going on with this? I need to look. Why do I have that? It's trying to tell me something. I need to figure out. They're going to tell me at the beginning of the book what those little things mean. So if the number is grayed out, why? Why is it grayed out? It doesn't tell me. Oh, I see. This is step 14. We're going to assemble it. And this is the assembled number 14. That's what that is. That's what that's talking about. Alright, so that makes sense. So we got M5. I need also M15 and 19 off of the same sprue. 15 and 19. There's 22, 15. This tiny little guy here. Okay. And then 19. It's 17, 10, 11, 19. But 18 and 19. Really? 15. M19 looks totally different. You know why? Because this is P. So I gotta save this piece and hopefully remember that. Let's try this. Looking at the proper sprue, M15, that actually looks like what it's supposed to. It really helps to pay attention. Clearly I was not paying attention. 15 and 19. There we go. Let's put that aside now. We need P22. P, this is P22. Looks like a throttle pedal. It very well could be. P22. I need P4. P4. Looks like possibly steering control, or it could be throttle. I don't know. And then P 39 and 41. 39 and 41. 36. 38. There's 41. .39 is a little piece. It's 40, 39 right here. Okay. All of our little parts to go on this bulkhead. After, of course, we get our nubs cleaned up so that she'll fit in properly. See, this is one of the rare times I'm actually streaming at the same time War Duck Miniatures is on Twitch. I almost never get a chance to see his stuff because he always streams in the afternoons. I typically stream early, like crazy early in the morning, because I'm a little bit crazy like that. He streams at a much more reasonable time. But my life is a little bit more random, and so I don't get the chance to do that so much. I just broke that off, or almost did. That's some kind of a control knob that is supposed to be there. Well, it looks like a nub, but in pressing to get rid of a nub, I accidentally bent that right over. I didn't quite break it off, but it might as well be. I need to glue that on now. Let the glue fix my boo-boo while I clean up the other parts. I guess this is a brake pedal, or this is the throttle pedal. That's my guess. And I'm guessing this is the steering control. And this is some kind of steering rod. Okay, parts are all done. So, our steering arm is going to go through here. And it notches in to a specific little spot. So let's get that glued in. Doink. Our steering control goes on to the end of it. I got a little bit of a nub right here I want to clean up. Even though it's on the bottom of it, it's not going to be seen. So this needs to go on like that. So I'll put a little bit of glue right on the tip of that. And then put that in on the end there. Get that as straight on both angles as I can eyeball it. And I'll leave it like this to dry. Okay, so P22 is going to go into this little notch here. P22, of course, looks like our throttle pedal. It's got a little square bracket or a square block on it to fit into this little notch at a certain angle, like this. So a little glue on that, take care of that. There we go. Okay. And then we've got P41. It's going to go onto this little rectangular thing there. So that's this guy is going to just sit in here like that. So similar way, just put some glue on there. And before it dries, put that in so that it holds it for me, and just added a little extra there. Done. Okay. So there's that. Now P39, it looks like they want P39 up here. Is that just me? It goes right up in there. So whatever this pedal is, it looks like a pedal, but I guess it's not. It's a like a panel, some kind of a control panel, and I got a little bit of flashing on here. There we go. So yeah, there's a little notch. There's a little notch right there, and that's where that's going to sit in. Kind of like this. She almost sits there on her own. Okay. Let's put a little glue in there just to help it stay where it's supposed to until I get it lined up properly. Just like that. Okay, now that's in its spot. Let's put some glue proper on there. So there you go, there's that little panel on the side there. It's like that. Alright, that's those pieces. So now we got our final piece here. She's got a slot in right in here with this little tab sticking out. I didn't keep that very straight, did I? That's a little better. So she's going to go in right there. It's a bit of a tight fit, but she goes in. She holds in straight, holds in by herself too. That's nice. Let's put some glue on her. Press her down a little bit so she's tight. There we go. Just like that. So we've got our front. I guess it's a steering. I'm assuming it's a steering. So this is going to go in on the other side of the transmission. But we have M9 needs to go. Looks like it goes through it. Let's just see. How is this supposed to go into? Where does this go on the hull? Looks like it goes in on the opposite side over here. If I pull the engine and tranny out, it looks like we go this way. Okay, so this notch right here that I'm pointing at is going to go right here onto this tab, and then it follows this contour like that and sits there and falls over because I don't have it glued. But that's where she sits. That's her spot. That's her home right there like that. Okay. That's a tight little quarters for our driver. I'm going to make sure our steering wheel is straight. My steering wheel is definitely not straight. Even my steering rod is not. It just looks a little wrong. There we go. So if I glue this wall in, how hard is it going to be to get the transmission in is the question. They don't tell me which order to do these, just to do them. And then I've got this M9. I gotta get M9. Where's my M tree? That's P. We don't want to get these mixed up again. M9 is this guy here. And M9 has a big ejector pin to get rid of. Now they show it like, do I just drop it down? It looks like it just drop it down into there. It looks like So I get the nub off of there. It looks like M9 just goes down here like this. It's got a little notch right there to fit on that little tab. Right there, and just sits and it doesn't go any further. So I guess our bulkhead, if I got that sitting there, our bulkhead just goes right over top of it, with that just sticking through there, just barely. And then our transmission has to go in, so we have to do this to get it in there. Yeah, this is all gonna have to be, I mean, M9 can go in and this can be its home, and leave that in here. So I'll put some glue on that one. On there. Okay. And just to make sure, there we go. So we're going to leave M9 in its place, like that. Essentially what happens is the transmission needs to line up with it and go in here. Like that. It's not really going to touch, but to get it in here, you need that little bit of a play. You need some playroom in there. So, yeah. This, of course, is all going to happen after we get some paint. After this is all painted. So I'm going to get rid of a little bit of flashing on this edge here. Okay, there we go. So this all needs to be painted. I want to paint this first because it's going to be a nightmare to try and paint and get everything in here when it's all assembled. So that's going to come after. Our transmission will then get installed, drop him in, and then drop the engine in. After I get this all painted a nice little colored green. Now the green that they call for, as you can tell, you're thinking, okay, so this is supposed to be something like this. Hi, how are you? You're back. Sorry, I didn't catch the chat fast enough there to see it on the screen, but yeah. So the green that they call out for is, if I go back to the front of the book, the green that they want you to paint the interior is, they call it Green Sky. MC205, right? They call it out everywhere on this. Okay. We go back to our interior parts. MC205. It's everywhere for the interior. MC205, they call it sky green. MC, of course, is a main color. Or if you're using Acrisian, which is, I believe that's Mr. Color or Mr. Hobby. MC205 is the same as N50, okay, which happens to be the same as Tamiya's X15. Tamiya's X15 is light green, okay, and that's the color. I actually painted the lid because, as you can see, look at the two different shades of green. The lighter green is what the lid is molded in, and then the darker green is the actual color. So I painted the lid so that I know that's actually that color. That is a very vibrant green in comparison to what they're showing here. So I'm planning on mixing this to just kind of desaturate the green a little bit so it's not such a bright in-your-face color green. And so I need to mix up a bunch of green after I primer this. Okay. I need to primer all that and then mix up some green. Next is going to be, after the engine, we're installing, looks like maybe a rad hose or something like that, a couple of pieces here, and then putting in the seats and whatever the heck that little thing is, and then working on the turret. Okay, so I need to primer this and then do some painting on that. So this is going to get put aside, at least for today. And before I go, we're going to start assembly on our turret. I also want to let this glue dry and let this all cure before I really start messing around with it too much. My steering arm still wants to keep curing in the wrong spot. But anyway, that's that. Mixing is scary. What if later you have to do another batch? Well, what I tend to do is I will pour maybe half of this into a jar and then thin it both with a bunch of thinner, so I've got my good 50-50 mix, and then I basically have an entire jar doing that. But if I'm mixing a color like I've done here, this was XF80 Royal Light Gray, and I used it all, and then I cleaned it all out, and now I got a custom color in here for painting the what was the plane? The stealth bomber. And so I painted the lid. So what I've got is a whole bunch of color in here. This is almost full because I made a lot more than I really need, and that's what I do. So I kind of prevent running out by making a lot more than what I need. And that's what I'm going to be doing with this, right? I'll be taking a good 3/4 of this, pouring it into a jar with whatever I mix it with, maybe a little bit of red, I think. How do you desaturate paints? I think you mix your complementary colors together and it desaturates. I'm going to have to Google it. I think red is the complementary to green, if I remember my color chart right. And then that should make it desaturate a little bit, take a little of the brightness away, and at least in theory anyway. And yeah, then we'll get a color that looks like it should. So before I go, we're going to start on this turret assembly, and let's get this started. So we need a piece of our N tree. Well, we need M6 and we need our P, but I got to grab N. Where's my N? Where's my N? Looks like it's all green too, which means this might actually be needing some paint also. So yeah, so we need, what do we need? We need M6, which is right here, this little box right here, which you're clearly running out of desk space because of that. Yes. Well, fortunately I do have lots of shelves and I do have space behind me, so that's not really a problem. Yes, it does kind of creep over here and my working area, but as long as I keep my working area here clean, I'm good to go. I can have all this other clutter around me, but yeah. So I need P11, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This little hose looking thing, a hose or a pipe. There we go. And I need P26, which is a door. There we go. I think that's it for the P's. Yes. My P is done. So we need N3 and 4, the great big half tubs here. That's 1, or should I say that's 4. And 3. Okay. We've got undergated. Look at that, undergated. Is this one also undergated? Yes, it is. Undergated just basically means the nub is on a side that's not visible. Basically. I think because of the lines on the cutting mat, camera autofocus is getting crazy. Is it really? I'll have to see. Let's try that. Try to get it to focus on something else. I apologize for that. I seem to be plagued with camera issues. I don't know why. I'm always chasing camera problems. I wish I just had a camera like A4 Garage, which just perfectly in focus all the time on exactly what he wants it to be focused on. And every video his camera stuff is just perfect, and I am jealous. I wish I had that. I wish I had his camera. I think he uses an iPhone actually as his camera. But he never seems to have an issue. His focus is always bang on and is perfect. Even I'm looking at my screen right now, and my focus, yeah, my hands look pretty good, but with the actual parts look blurry because the camera's focusing on my hands. Okay, so we've got some pretty big ejector pins on the inside of these. I have no idea what these are going to look like when it's together, how much of this is even going to be visible, if these are going to be any issue. But not that it's jumping or anything, but it's out of focus because of that. When you reach for something with your hand, your watch looks perfect. My watch looks perfect, yeah. So why is my watch perfect, but the rest of it is garbage? Okay, so they want us to go like this, but they don't. It's not round. It's not a perfect circle. So it's just these two like that. Unfortunately, there's not much of a guide to have this exactly the position you need. So I'm kind of guessing, and this fit is not very good. I'm going to hold it like that. I'll put a little glue. So if the background is solid, it's easier on the camera. Is that how it works? Okay. So if I say, for example, I just put down a plain piece of paper on my desk, in theory, my camera would have a lot easier time focusing. So maybe that's what my problem has been all this time, is the fact that I'm doing this over a mat that has all these grid lines. Maybe I need to get like maybe a black piece of paper or something like that, because then everything will stand out really nice. So there's that. I probably should have put these little parts on first before putting those together, but they don't tell me any order of operations here. So we have this little guy here, and they want me to put him up to the bottom of this. And so I have to figure out, there's a little tab on the bottom of that. It looks like they want the tab at the top, and then this is going to go in like this. Okay, we'll do that. Probably, and the more light you got, the better frames per second will be. Yeah, I've got like 4 very bright LED lights going on right now. My lighting is Lighting is pretty good. My room has definitely got lots of lights. Lots of light in it. Lighting's not the problem. The lighting is the least of my problems. Okay. That was one that lighting was a problem I had at the beginning, and that was easy to fix just by buying a bunch of LED lights, putting them up everywhere. Okay, so there's that piece. We're just going to let that dry for a minute or 5 because it needs to go onto this piece here, and it needs to just, the little slot, little notch goes into there and just kind of sits on that. And then we have P26, and we've got an option here, either closed or open, depending on what you want to have. So do you want to have this closed like this, or do you want to actually have it open? So if you have it closed, you're actually going to put it in a little bit behind this piece here like that. But I'm going to have mine open. I'm going to have it open, which means we just have to slide it all the way over like this and have it like that, and just have it sitting like this. I'm going for open because, well, there's nobody inside, so why would it be closed? You know what I mean? That makes sense to me anyway. There's nobody inside, so why would it be all closed up? So let's just put some glue in along there. And just to make sure it stays, we're going to burn glue along the bottom here. There we go. So we've got that door in. I think probably enough glue. I don't need any, but I'll just do it anyway along the top there. There we go. Okay. So I think this has been holding long enough now. We can probably put it in its home, and that little tab right up in there, it's just going to sit there like that. Is it? Or is it going to be a jerk and fall off everywhere? Line that up like that. Yes. Perfect. A little drop of glue. And there we go. There's that. See, when the camera does focus, it focuses nice. It's pretty good. But yeah, just convincing it to focus has been my biggest problem. So there is our turret basket bulkhead assembly. That's what we're calling it. That's what they call it. Set that aside. Let's put it on this side down. And let's flip our page and see what we got. More interior stuff. A lot more interior stuff. So, they want us to put this piece in first, but we have to assemble this. This is attaching the turret basket bulkhead. It is going to go into the middle of the tank. I'm guessing in a position something like this. Kind of just like that, actually. But that's not being installed quite yet. We have other things. So let's get this part here. P and S. We've got to assemble these and put them in there. And we're going to put that down on this wall here. So, P and S. There's P. I don't know what S is. Where's my S? We'll find it. We need P, 32 and 13. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right here. And then we need 32. Looks like a couple of, I'm not sure what some kind of canisters. It could be oxygen canisters. It could be fire retardant. I don't know what they are. Some kind of canisters. Got those two. Now I need my S tree. Where's my S? Right here. I wasn't sure if S was going to be green or not, but sure enough it is. S10. Just like the Chevy S10. Well, maybe not quite like the Chevy. Does that look like a Chevy? Not to me. It doesn't look like a Chevy to me. Doesn't look anything like a pickup truck. And an old friend of mine had a Chevy S10 at one time, like a late 90s, something like that, or maybe in mid 90s, I don't know. Older truck anyway. Loved that little thing. Always talked about how he wanted to put like a 350 engine in it, drag race it or something. Okay, so this guy is going to go on this piece, and how's he going to go on? How does he go on? He goes on like this. No, goes this direction. Looks like he's just sits like this. Looks like this kind of just notches in somehow. It's a little confusing how this goes on there. Maybe it goes like that. Yeah, I believe it goes like this. It's a little confusing how this is supposed to really attach, but I think that's how it goes. I think that's how that goes. You're a fan of USA cars? Yes, I am. Yeah, definitely. We have our little canisters. They're supposed to go up here. They kind of have this little slot in them, which I probably should have put on first, because now I got to pay attention to how much pressure I put in. They just sit right up in there. Just put a little glue on there so that they are a little more willing to stay put. There we go. Up. Once you get it in the spot, don't move it around. There we go. It's a tight little fit, but they fit. Okay, so there's that little that little thing I keep talking. In my country, insurance for those kinds of cars based on CC would be half the month paycheck. Yeah, that's, well, I mean, that was a problem a long time ago. Your insurance was based on how much horsepower the car was rated at. Now your insurance is a lot more based on how long you've been driving and how many accidents you've had. They do have a base insurance rate based on the car. Like if the car is brand new, your insurance rate is higher, because simply parts to replace it if you get in an accident are more expensive. So there's that piece there. Okay, that's what that looks like. A little blurry, but yes. And so that is going to go down into our hull near the back here. And so the little tab here on this spot is going to line up right in here. Which means it's got to go in between the wall here like this. fits in perfect. Just like that. I'm happy with that fitment, so why not just throw some glue on there now? That is perfect. Just like that. Okay. And then we have this piece here. That is P14. They're saying put that in a second. P14. Where'd my P go? Where'd my P go? I have P on the floor? Ah. Peed on the floor. P14. It looks like a big belt. No idea what that is, but that's a really funky texture and a funky pattern to it. It's like sandbags or something. We get that too, but everything above 2.0 liters is expensive. Oh, really? Wow. So in other words, they're trying to encourage you to get small engines. By increasing the cost of insurance for a larger engine. So this guy goes up to this piece here and then goes down in behind our railing. Is that how this is going to work? Does it just go in like that? How does this go in? I want to see another picture of this installed because I am not sure exactly how. Like, does this go on the outside here? It looks like it's supposed to go on top, but at the same time they show it going down underneath the railing. Like this kind of thing, but it doesn't really want to fit. So that's why I need to see another picture of how this is installed, because it's a little confusing. It definitely looks like there's a channel here for it. But why did they want that? Why do they want this in first? Or is it supposed to go through the hole? Does it go like that? That would be it. So it goes through the hole in that piece. It goes through the hole. There's a hole there. It goes through. And then it just sits in that little channel right there perfectly. Just like that. And that's it. Yes. And they want that painted 502 N8, which is different color. So I'm tempted to not put this in because I got to paint it, and it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to paint it when it's not in. So I'm going to leave that out for now. Then we're going to take a look at our rear door frame, which is D3, and then we're going to add J28, a couple of latches it looks like. We'll do that. So let's grab that. D3 and J28. So I gotta find my D. You know, day in and day out, I have trouble finding my D. And it was J. D and J. I need a DJ. Found my D. That didn't take too long. J. Okay, so it was J28. I got two of those I need to get off of here. In Canada, pedestrian friendly? Yes. In fact, in Canada, pedestrians always have right of way on the road. So if a pedestrian gets hit by a car, the guy driving the car is 99% of the time found to be at fault. So sometimes we get every now and then we get some, this is going to sound racist, but I don't mean it to be, it just has statistically true. Sometimes we get some foreigners will find out about the fact that pedestrians are always found to be having right of way, and so they might actually step out in front of a moving vehicle and get hit on purpose, trying to get some kind of a financial payout. And I would say probably 15 to 20 years ago, that used to happen quite a lot, and people would get a lot of money from it, from the government. I mean, sidewalks, public transportation, a number of road crossings in cities. We have tons and tons and tons of those. Regular transportation, yes. Sidewalks everywhere. Public transportation, it doesn't compare to something like South Korea, but it's pretty good. Definitely comparable to America, anyway. Yeah. Okay. So these two guys, J28s, they got to go into these two little holes up top here. And it looks like we're actually going to be putting them through the holes. Looks like we're actually going through the holes like this and placing them in. So that we got a little hook sticking out. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like we're trying to do here. But I want to see another picture of that door just to make sure. So let's flip through and see. I want a picture of the back showing that hatch. And yes, right here, right there, we've got the little hooks sticking out just like I thought. So that is exactly what I wanted to make sure was that right there. Just so that I'm doing this correctly. Let's pick that up. Put this in so my little hook is facing down. And we can glue that down. Nope. Don't fall out. Now, don't want to stay in its home. Now that you know where your home is, you don't want to go there. There you go. Glue, please. Thank you. Let's make sure that's pressed on there a little tight. There we go. There's one. Now, if you're wondering which way these are supposed to go, the hook's basically supposed to face down. Okay, the hooks are supposed to face down. Like that. A little bit of a press. There we go. So we got our little hooks installed now. So that's those little two hooks there, up at the top, there and there. Okay, those are going to face outward and face down like that. Okay, so if you want to see the back side, that's how they look. Okay, there we go. That's that. So this is supposed to go in right here at the back. And how do we line up? Looks like she lines up like this. It's a tight fit. There we go. Just one side in. Woohoo! Yeah, thank you. And that's in. And that's in. So she's a snug fit for sure. And that's the back wall. So I think I can glue the wall in without having to worry about paint so much. I think I can glue that in. I just want to make sure she's glued in and she's snug everywhere. Nice and flush. So let's apply some glue along our edges. Make sure that's nice and tight. Good. Good. And on this side here. There we go. Where she doesn't want to stay, she wants to kind of pop out in the middle here at the bottom. So I think what I'm going to have to do is glue it and then hold it down, or maybe put some tape on it just to eliminate the gap. So we don't want a gap. That should be nice and flat on there. So I might actually use a quick type. I'm going to use a quick type here to get this glued in. Get this guy glued in, and then I got to get going. Quick type just kind of cures a little bit quicker, hence the name quick type. So hold that down, and she holds. Now because it dries so quick, it doesn't hold, it's not as strong of a bond as the regular stuff. The regular stuff, you know, it takes a little bit more time, and therefore it just glues a little stronger. I still have a little bit of a gap going on there, so I could really try and squeeze that there, add a little more of this, and close that off. And just kind of hold it for a sec, and we'll see how that goes. Tape doesn't melt. Masking tape, anyway, doesn't melt. I've never had that happen. I've taped things together many, many times and never had an issue with the tape. Okay, looks like our gap problem is solved here. Just holding on to that for a sec more. Yeah, we're glued pretty good there now. No more gap. Okay, she looks nice and closed up. So I want to add a little bit more just on the inside here, just to secure everything nicely. So that she's going to hold forever. Looks pretty good. Okay, and that, my friends, is where I need to leave it for today, because I need to get going, and because my wife is waiting for me. So What I'm going to do off camera is primer this thing. I'm going to primer this whole thing on the inside, maybe on the outside too. I'll give it all a nice coatable gray primer. Get that all done. Okay. Get some primer on this baby so that we can actually get some other things assembled and finish off the assembly on the inside. Right? Because this has to go in, but we need paint. We need it's all got to be painted one color and all that stuff. I do see some ejector pins sticking up here in the center. That might be an issue. You too, you have a nice day, and thank you for the chat. I do appreciate it. It's nice to have someone to talk to while I'm doing this. And, you know, my channel is pretty dead as far as chat goes, so I appreciate it. Thank you. As I was saying, I don't know if these ejector pins that are sticking up about 0.5 millimeter, I don't know if it's going to be an issue. It might just look a little weird that we've got these 4 big circles sitting there. I'm not sure. I'll decide what I'm going to do with them later. But yeah, I'm going to primer this thing and maybe give her a coat of green. I'll mix up some green and paint some green in there so we can actually get this thing assembled. And anyway, I want to thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, I do invite you to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and leave a comment down below. Check out my description box below and see the links to my other channels and stuff like that. Things like my Twitch and all that stuff, and my Instagram, where I upload still pictures of everything that I have built in the past. And so if you feel like it, check those out too. But that's where we're going to leave it for today, guys. Thank you again for watching and joining me on this little trip, and we'll see you all in the next one.